Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Facebook Live. Let me get Instagram going real quick. Hey there, Instagram. Nice to see you all. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hopefully, you're doing something that you love today. Today, we're on day number 35 of our 100-day personal performance and business growth challenge. Now, today's topic is we're on part 2 of a mini little 4-part series on 4 things that can royally mess up your relationship. And whether this is a business partnership, an intimate relationship, a friendship, these 4 things can jack up any relationship that you're in. But those of you just tuning in, I'd love to know, number 1, where you're tuning in from. Number 2, love to know 3 things you're grateful for down in the comment section over there. Now, yesterday we talked about the number 1 thing that can jack up any relationship that you're in is expectations and the concept of you're coming in with certain assumptions and certain expectations, and so often those assumptions and expectations are set based on your preconceived notion of how people should and shouldn't act in relationships, based on wherever it is that you came up with the concept of what relationships should and shouldn't be. The analogy we used yesterday, if you haven't watched it yet, is, if we had a board game, there's our little board game, and we sat down at the table and I gave you the rules to Monopoly, and I gave your partner, whether it's your intimate relationship or your business partner, I gave them the rules to Clue, and then say, okay, play the game together. At the first couple turns, because you're in love, because you're excited, because your hormones are all fired and giddy, what ends up happening is they say, okay, roll the dice to see who goes first. And you think, in Clue, there's no dice in Clue. In Clue, you pick who did it in which room with what object. And they go, okay, well, you roll the dice, and then we'll decide who goes first. And then you can be either the thimble, the horse, or the train. And you're thinking, there's no train, horse, or thimble in Clue. That's weird. But oh well, I love them, so we'll see what happens. And you keep going, and by turn number 27, you're ready to strangle this person because they're not playing by the rules. And what you didn't get is the assumptions and expectations of what the rules are were made up by you, and they were unknown to your partner. And so yesterday we talked about how to sit down and figure out, what do you need? What do you want? What do you desire? How do you need it? How do you want it? How do you desire it? And how to express that to the person that you're in a relationship with, and how to hear theirs so that you know what they need, want, desire, and how to create yours or ours. So we are playing by one rule book together instead of 2 separate rule books against each other. So this next piece, the second part of this little 4-part series, is this can jack up any relationship, which is if you don't consistently update the rule book based on the environmental changes that are happening. So let's say you're 2 single humans, you get together and start to have a relationship. Now, as you're having this relationship, the environment changes. What could count as an environment change? Let's see, you get a new job. You start a new business. You have a child. You move to a new city. You have new friends. It could be even the weather. I mean, as simple and weird as this sounds, the weather changing from in the summer to in the winter, you might be a different version of yourself if you live in a super cold place. But anything, and I'd love in the comment section, what's an environmental change that adjusted who you were or how you showed up in your relationship? And let's see what happens here, because it could be so many little things. Or what's an environmental change that adjusted how your partner was or wasn't showing up in the relationship? Because any of these little changes can happen, and instantly you're going to have to go back and go, we have to update the rule book. We have to update the way we're going about this game together to make sure we're both still on the same page. Otherwise, what happens is an environmental shift happens. Someone starts playing by a new set of rules based on the new environment, which the other person's like, hey, What are you doing? We agreed not to do that, or we agreed always to do this, or we agreed you're in charge of this and I'm in charge of this. How come the ball dropped? How come you're not getting it done anymore? What the heck? Now, silly examples. Let's say I say I'm in charge of making breakfast, and all of a sudden we start another business, or we have a child, or I start a new job and I have to wake up and get out of the house earlier. My wife comes to the kitchen and goes, "Where the heck's my breakfast? He always makes breakfast." First day doesn't say anything. Third day doesn't say anything. 10th day, she's waiting for me when I get home. She's like, "Hey, did you forget about me? How come you're making you breakfast and not me breakfast? You used to make me breakfast. Do you not love me anymore?" And it sounds silly, but because there's an environmental shift, we need to redo something that we're going to talk about in a couple of days, which is roles and responsibilities. We need to update the rules. We need to update the process we're using to understand if we're still on the same page. So today's action, this is a short, sweet, and simple one here. Let's see. Antoinette says, "When I heard your day 31 about relationships, it brought me to tears. This has been so recent, has really changed the dynamic for the better." Beautiful. This stuff works. This is real time in the motion. This is the stuff that makes the difference material that we're covering in this 100-day challenge. And so, yesterday was about expectations and assumptions and getting clear on that with your partner. Go back and do that. Today is really simple on consistently updating the plan based on environmental changes that are adjusting in your lives together. So first, with your partner, sit down and make sure you do day 1, which is yesterday, of our day 34 of this series, but do that part together. Second, identify what are potential environmental clues or changes that are coming up. What are potential environmental changes? Are any one of you planning to start a new business, get a new job? Are you going to have your first, third, fourth, fifth child? Are you going to adopt a pet? Are you going to move? Are you going to switch cities? Are you shifting friends? Anything that's a potential environmental shift, make sure you identify it and then plan ahead of time how you're going to, what you need, want, desire before the shift. Immediately after the shift, like a week into it or a couple weeks into it, sit down and plan another meeting of what you need, want, and desire now that the shift has happened. I had a client who they had their first child, and they did this beautifully right before the child, what they need, what they want, what they desire, how they need it, how they want it, how they desire it. They were good. He was totally delivering. And then what happened is after they had their child, stuff shifted in their business. They're showing up differently. All of a sudden, they kind of lost their intimacy. They lost their passion. He goes, "What the heck? What happened?" And his wife was stressed out all the time. He didn't know why. And I said, the environment changed. She couldn't have predicted how she was going to feel after having a child and being a mom now. You got to update what do you need, want, and desire, and how do you need, want, and desire it? He went back. He asked, "Can we update this? Can we have a meeting? Can I understand what you need, want, and desire now on this side of having a baby?" And there was a little things that she didn't realize changed. As soon as they updated the plan, bingo, their relationship's right back in a beautiful place. Things are going great. Everything's amazing. Now, so many months later, something changed in their business, which means they got to go back and have another update meeting. And so this is an ongoing, consistent process based on any environmental shifts that's happening. Every time there's an environmental shift, immediately have a meeting and update. What do you need? What do you want? What do you desire? How do you need it? How do you want it? How do you desire it? And watch how this helps in your relationship. Definitely a new job, planning to make this happen very soon. This is hitting home for me. Wonderful. So make sure you do this every time there's an environmental shift. Okay, I got to go get a haircut. Got my fro to cut off here. And I will see you all tomorrow for day number 36 of our 100-day personal performance and business growth challenge. If you know anyone that needs to watch this, please make sure to share this with them. I believe sharing is caring. We like caring people around here, so make sure to share it. Have some fun today. I'll see you all tomorrow.